What is up, y'all? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to go ahead and rank the future stars that were just released in Stage 2 of every Team Affinity from 30 to 1. So we're going to go worst to first, talk a bit about them. Keep in mind, I have not used every single one of these cards, so some of the opinions are going just off of what I see here. You're still best off just using a card. If you want to try it out, you think it has some appealing features, give it a shot. Don't just take my word for it entirely. This is meant to give you some guidance on the cards that maybe you should prioritize a bit, because obviously while ratings are a huge deal, they're not everything. Sometimes you got to get in there, see how the swing plays, see how the pitches and delivery play for a pitcher. You got to kind of figure some things out for yourself. But without further ado, let's dive into it and start with number 30. This one was kind of obvious. Sorry, Blue Jays fans, but this Kevin Schmidt is just not doing it for me. A 90 overall, does have the middle infield positions, which I kind of include third base. I know it's not in the middle of the infield, but it's a premium defensive position. So short, second, third, those are all the premium infield positions, besides catcher, which is its own thing. That's about the best thing that this card offers. Everything else is a bit underwhelming. Can hit righty-righty, which is a little bit okay. A little decent defense and some speed, but there's just not much here to get excited about, so I'm going to go ahead and move on. Sorry, Jays fans, Kevin Schmidt just not doing it for me. Next up at 29 is the Brewers' Zach Brown. Now, they don't have as deep of a system and as many up-and-comers, so the fact that they maybe got a little bit of the shorter end isn't as surprising as Toronto. There were some better candidates for Toronto, which I guess made that one a bit more surprising. With Zach Brown here, you're talking about a 4-pitch mix with a 4-seam and a 2-seam, which are a bit similar. You like the curve and change, having a big velocity discrepancy, and the 94 hit 9, but the K9's underwhelming. The BB9 is just okay. It just looks like a pretty bland righty right now at a 91 overall, so there's not a whole lot to love about Zach Brown. Going to 28, I think we jump up a little bit here. So the first two are kind of off on their own. We jump up a little bit in talent to Adonis Medina. And while he is a 90 overall, we don't do everything based on overall, because the makeup of things is a bit better for him. I like the hit and K9 combo better than that of Brown, and the 5-pitch mix here. While he does have 2 fastballs as well with a sinker and a 4-seam, I much prefer those two because they're much more distinct than a 4-seam, 2-seam combo. Plus, you got the sweeping curve coming in at 77 miles an hour. You've got your changeup, you got your slider, you got everything. You got north, south, in, out, a lot of different ways to go here with the Medina. This could actually play up and be a pretty decent card, but right now it does check in at 28 based on everything else that we have here. Staying with Baltimore here at 27, we're going to talk about Ryan Mountcastle, who's a hit first, really a hit only kind of card. He's a 92 overall, first, third, and left. You love the offense. The offense absolutely plays, but it's a right-hander at premium offensive positions, and I'm not sure that this offense is enough to push him above so many of the other cards that we have. So give him a shot. You rake with his swing, he could end up being a hidden gem for you, but there is troubling defense there, so you probably want to put him at first. At the same time, there's so many good first basemen. Do you dare hide him at third? Maybe put him in the outfield and just hope. A little bit of speed there from a slugger, but the challenges on this card, I think, are what hurt it more than the pros help it. Like, I love the offense, but the things surrounding it are what make it tough to rank higher than 27th. Staying in the AL East, we go to Boston and talk about Bobby Dahlbeck, who has a lot of similarities to the Mountcastle, except that his defense is a bit better. But it is still third and first, 2 premium positions. The contact now is traded for a little bit more premium power and that defense. Not as fast, 48, not base clogging, but certainly not special. So overall, I think the overall talent profile here is similar to Mountcastle's, even though there are some differences, namely that defense. So I would use Dahlbeck ahead of Mountcastle, but I'm just not sure that either really make the grade as righties that I want to put into my lineup immediately. I think I'll give Dahlbeck a shot in a BR situation because that power is so awesome and the defense does play. But as far as a ranked season situation, I'd have to try him out first, and maybe if I click with him off rip, then I would bring him into the fold there. Next up is Daz Cameron from my beloved Tigers, a 90 overall outfielder. He's a right sort of guy, can play all 3 positions, primarily in center, does have the defense and speed to cover center field, but the offense is definitely underwhelming. You're looking at somebody who can hit lefties very well, but struggles against righties. You're going to face more righties, so you're looking at primarily a bench bat here, again, unless you click with his swing to the point where you're like, hey, I got to use this because I crushed with Daz Cameron. There's another guy coming up who's very similar to that I've talked about in the past that you got to try out to see if maybe you click with him. But as it stands, in the depth of outfield, it's hard to get too excited about Daz Cameron. Let's move over to Colorado and talk about Ryan Robison. I was really hoping for Sam Hilliard because it's a premium bat with some power and speed. But they went with Robison, who's actually not too bad here. You got your 5-pitch mix. Yes, it's 2 similar fastballs, so we'll call it 4.5, because you're not really going to be using that 2-seamer too much. Not only is it his 5th pitch overall, but it probably doesn't have that much wiggle to it, especially at 92 miles an hour. Curve, change, slider. So you have all the pitches that you look for. He's a lefty. He's got some decent per nines. The worst asset on this card is the 60 overall Homer 9, which doesn't play in ranked seasons or anywhere online. They took Homer 9 out last year after giving it a shot, realizing it was a little bit too OP. So that doesn't even hurt him, and that keeps him down here at a 91 overall. So I could see this card being sneak tip, depending on how the delivery is, depending on how some of the top-tier pitchers play with that 4-seam curve and change, his top 3. This could be interesting. A 13-mile-per-hour split between fastball and changeup is nice. Going back out to the AL Central, Dane Dunning gets the nod here for the White Sox. Sinker, curve, slider, 4-seam change. I like the pitch mix a lot. I love that he gets a primary sinker. There's some decent per nines here. I like the stamina a bit. Also hurt by a low Homer 9 that kind of keeps him down at a 91 instead maybe of like a 93, 94. Probably 93 would be the max if you had a more even-keeled Homer per 9. I like the pitch mix here. That's why he drew the nod over somebody like Robison, is because he starts with the sinker. And I like that he has all 5 pitches that you look for. Solid card here. Definitely want to give him a shot. I actually already have this card, so I'm going to give him a shot in the near future. Next up is the card that I revealed, Jorge Matteo. Now, if you watch my reveal, you saw that I talked about how this card is actually pretty similar to the Alberto Mondesi that we all love, except he doesn't switch hit, and that's a big deal. I'll point that out. The switch hitting lack thereof is a big deal because when you're hitting against righties at 66 and a very nice 69, you're having to do it as a righty yourself. But if you click with this swing, I think this could be one of the sneak tip cards. Not just because I revealed it. It doesn't matter if people like it. Just because I was the one who was in charge of the reveal. I don't get anything on the back end of like, well, they liked my card best, so give me money. Doesn't matter. I'm going to give this card a shot, though, because I loved the Mondesi so much, because it has so many similarities to it. The only real difference is that switch hitter capability. What we're trading for that, though, is the fact that he does have center field capabilities, though, so you can kind of put him in the outfield. I think he's a great bench bat for speed, defense, and the ability to hit lefties. If you can do anything against righties, this can be a starting card for you. Next up, we actually have a lot of middle infielders coming up here. We're going to mix in an outfielder, but including Matteo, 4 of our next 5 come from the middle infield, including Luis Garcia here next for the Washington Nationals. He's just 19 years old right now, 92 overall, left-handed batter. Kind of has a decent profile here. Second, third, and short. Not a primary shortstop. That would have helped a little bit more. You take a little bit of a defensive hit at short. Love the righty capability, 108, 81 as a lefty. 81 and a nice 69 power against lefty. That's going to play on the swing. Lefty in general is a little bit tough. I do like the 90 vision, though. That certainly helps. Capable defense, a little bit of speed. Not a great card, but certainly not a bad one either. Definitely want to take a look at that. 21 rank for Luis Garcia. We're starting to kind of get into the middle here, where a lot of these cards are usable, but you have to rank them somewhere, right? So the 20th guy might be very similar to the 14th in terms of overall usability, but you got to rank them in some order. So we're starting to get some clusters of talent here. Next up, in the middle infield as well, is Nico Horner for the Cubs. He has second primary with short and center field, so you can jump into the outfield again, similar to what you can do with the Jorge Matteo. Big contact, massive vision. This is definitely one of those cards that you have to try. You have to see if this plays for you, because this could be base hits for days with great speed, solid defense. he could end up being your gem at the bottom of the lineup, maybe the top of the lineup if that's the kind of lineup that you go with the slap hitters up at the top. But there's a lot to like about this card that could end up playing well, but you have to try him out. Don't dismiss his power out of hand just because it's 58-67 right now. We've seen this profile with big vision, big contact deliver more power than their card might suggest, and this could absolutely be the case for this Nico Horner. So I got him ranked at 19, but I could definitely see him playing above his numbers here. Sorry, just getting a little something in order here. Oh, I skipped somebody. I'm an idiot. Horner's 19. Number 20 is the outfielder that we're mixing in, Alec Thomas. Now, he is a 94 overall, so why is he so low? Well, he doesn't quite have premium power. I did just get done saying that a vision contact heavy profile can play up their power, but the defense is a little bit lacking, particularly with the arm. Arm is very important this year, so I love the field and react for center field with the speed. This could absolutely be a very good card, but I bumped him down a little bit compared to some of the other outfielders who are coming up because of that power and because of that arm. But I still think this is a really interesting card. I might even be inclined to throw him in left and hide the arm a little bit because you don't need as good of an arm in most left fields. So I could see Alec Thomas going there. Now, he ranked 20th. Again, Nico Horner was 19. So now we jump to 18, and another middle infielder, Adonis Jimenez for the Mets. He bats lefty, throws righty, short and second. He's double diamond. He's got contact and vision. Very similar profile to Nico Horner here. Does not have the shortstop capability, but has great defense, great speed, should be able to steal bases like crazy. Very similar to everything I said about Nico Horner, and even kind of Alec Thomas, to be honest, like an infielding Alec Thomas with an even better arm, of course, for that infield defense. This Adonis Medina, I could absolutely see becoming a favorite for folks as they give it a shot and realize, oh, hey, I rake with Adonis Medina. Next up, this one might be a little bit too high because of one thing. The fact that Evan White only has one position. But I'm really intrigued by this card. Now, he has good offense across the board, enough power to do damage, great contact, solid vision. I love the defense, but it's only at first base. That speed, though, is so fun to have at first base. If you run an all-speed team, you finally have your first baseman here that you can put in and get an 80 speed at first base. If he had any other positions, I feel like they could have given him outfield. He's drawn comparisons to Cody Bellinger in terms of athleticism, not in terms of overall profile or power or anything like that, but in terms of his athleticism as a first baseman who can also play the outfield and do so capably. Would have been cool to see them give him at least the corner outfields, left and right. It wasn't to be, so I ranked him 17. I could see Jimenez, Horner, and even Alec Thomas being ahead of him because he's first base only, but I had to give him some love. I'm excited by this card. I think it's going to be a fun card to give a shot to, even though first base is stacked with insane hitting. Next up is Clark Schmidt, the 92 overall starter for the Yankees. This looks like a very solid pitching card. Like nothing super flashy about it. Mid-80s across the board on the per nines. Again, I'm counting hit, K, and BB. I don't care about homer nine. It doesn't play in the game. So when I say that, I'm just focused on hits, strikeouts, and walks per nine. 96 stamina, sinker-led arsenal, all 5 pitches, can reach 96, 97 with his fastball. What's not to like with this card? I'm a fan here. So I like this Clark Schmidt. I got him ranked at 16, kind of almost smack dab in the middle of these rankings with a couple other pitchers that you can kind of jumble as you see fit. Next up, Jose Urquidy. He's a 92 overall starter as well for the Astros here. Now, his hit per nine isn't as good at 80, but the BB and the Ks are at 90 each, and I love that. I also love the unique arsenal. I love that his top 2 pitches are changeup and slider at 81 and 83 miles an hour, respectively. But then he can still run up the fastball into the mid-90s, and he has that hook as his 4th pitch. So I think this is a really unique card. I'm really intrigued by it. I love the clutch at 100, so you get runners on base. You shouldn't be so concerned. You can maybe use him, if you use your starters as a reliever, you can bring him in with some damage, with some runners on base, because that clutch is about runners in scoring position. So on second and third base, how the pitcher reacts, where his confidence is rattled or not rattled. With a 100 clutch, this Archy will not be rattled. Next up is the 93 overall starting pitcher, Brady Singer for the Kansas City Royals. Now, he's got sinker, slurve, forcing, changeup. And that slurve is exactly why he got the nod over Archy and Schmidt. I'll admit it. I mean, slurves are hot right now. Those slurves are so hot. Slurves. Great per nines. I love the 96 BB9. Given how difficult it is to throw anything where you want it, somebody with a mid-90s BB9, that's going to be something that stands out to me. And that and the slurve are what drew Singer over Archy and Schmidt in this little group of pitchers here. I'm definitely going to give this card a shot. I'm really eager to see how it plays. I hope he doesn't have some super readable, terrible delivery that gets him crushed, because otherwise I think this could end up being a sneak tip card. He doesn't throw super hard, but you got the pitches that you need. We love sinkers. Slurves are great. Changeup is there for those that want it. And it still has a 13 mile per hour split between his fastball. Big stamina, big BB9. Sign me up for Brady Singer. All right, now we're in the top 13. I said that like it was the top 10 or something. You know, we cut off at top 10. I'm like, we're in the top 13 now. You know, the famed top 13. Now, moving on to 13, we stay in the AL Central. We go with Alex Kirilloff for the Twins. Dude can absolutely smash. Look at that diamond hitting. He crushes. I could see this card absolutely tearing the cover off the ball. And while he's a primary first baseman, he did get left and right field, so you can put him out there if you want. His fielding, his arm accuracy and reaction aren't great, but the fielding and arm are fine. So you can feel confident putting him out there. A little bit slow at 44 speed, so be careful if you play in a big outfield regularly. But you can always put him at first too. And the hitting, won't necessarily stack up to the elite top of the scale first baseman, but it's going to hold up to a lot of first basemen out there. I mean, I've got the Matt Olson out there right now as my first baseman, and I'll tell you what, the Kirilloff is right there. His power isn't as high, but his contact and vision are much higher. So I'm intrigued by this Kirilloff for sure. I'm actually a big fan of Kirilloff in real life, so I'm excited to see how he's going to end up playing when he does get called up to the majors, and he slots 13th. Now moving over to Pittsburgh, we have Kibriya Hayes as a 95 overall third baseman coming in at number 12. Now, elite defense at third base, strong speed, great contact vision and discipline, and capable power. This is another one where if the swing clicks for you and you can maximize his power and kind of hit a little bit above those 72 and 64 numbers, this card's going to be a god for you. Now, we have to see how that plays out, but I did rank him high based on the fact that I love what he's able to do. This O'Neal Cruz ended up being a sneak tip card for a lot of folks. As you can see, I have a 933 OPS with him. I think Pittsburgh might be the team of sneak tip cards. Everyone loves Josh Bell, too. I haven't used him, but I know Josh Bell cards draw rave reviews. I think this Kibriya Hayes could end up being one of the sneakier cards here. I ended up ranking him 12th because I just love that defense as well. Next up, this one was a little bit of a surprise to me. I had Elio Ramos at 11 overall. Now, he's a 93 overall, so we've had 94s and 95s here lately, so you're like, well, why do you have him ranked so high? This is why we don't go just by overall. But look at the contact and power. Those are all really strong. All four metrics are strong. The vision's a little light at 70, but it's not so damaging that you can't even use them in Hall of Fame. I think you can. I mean, I've been using guys with like 50 and lower vision at Hall of Fame. I can use a 70. Great defense in the outfield, all three outfield spots. Great speed so he can cover center or a big left or right field, depending on where you put him. I think this card's just going to mash. I was really intrigued to see this card. I haven't heard much buzz about this Ramos, but I think this could be a card that ends up being badass, and I'm really excited to give him a shot. Now we get into the top 10 here. Where will your favorite names be? Maybe I've already said it, but maybe I haven't. You're wondering, where's he going to rank my guy? Now, if you watch my stream, you know that I was working my way toward Nicola Dolo. And then I played the most insane game in the playoffs in March to October ever. I mean, I don't want to overhype it, but I'm going to go ahead and say ever. And you can check my VOD. I'm actually going to make a highlight of it, put it in Twitch so you can look at stream highlights and find it there. I'd put it on YouTube, but I was playing music during it and it would just get smoked. And, you know, I don't know if it would get taken off my channel or if my channel would get in any trouble for playing it. I mean, I would want to put it up and be like, I don't care about monetization. I just want people to see it. But anyway, Nicola Dolo comes in at number 10. I know he only has 4 pitches, but the hit and K9 are awesome at 97 and 100 respectively. I love that he leads off with a sinker. He's a lefty. He's got the 4 pitches that we want the most: sinker, slider, 4-seam change. Be great if he threw in a curve there, but it's not the end of the world. It doesn't really bother me, especially from the left side. I think I can get everything done that I need to here with this Lodolo. I'm really excited by him. Unfortunately, I still need to get a boatload of points. What am I at? Oh, wait. I can see here I'm at 50, 72? Yeah, so I still have work to do because I choked in the playoffs, man. Tough loss. But I like this Lodolo. He checks in at number 10. Next up, for Atlanta, Kyle Wright, a 94 overall starter from the right side. As you can see, he's got the 5 pitches: 4-seam slider, curve, sink, changeup. Wish the sinker rated higher, but you know we're going to spam sinkers forever. Double 90s on the hits and Ks. The BB is a little bit light, same with Lodolo, but that's okay. When you're making up for it with premium hit and K9, I can overlook it. I love it when it's great, like with Singer, but if you're going to have great hit and K9, 5-pitch arsenal, 96 mile per hour fastball on average, I can overlook a little bit of a lighter BB9. And 78 isn't exactly terrible either. So I think this is a really interesting card. Eager to give Kyle Wright a shot. A lot of these pitchers really stood out to me as guys I want to give a shot to. They have a lot of interesting aspects to them. Really, the Zach Brown is the only one that I'm like, I don't care if I ever try it. Sorry, Zach Brown. All right, next up is another third baseman. This one for Texas, Josh Young. That is Young, not Jung. Now, you might be wondering why he rates higher than Kibriya Hayes when Kibriya Hayes is a 95 overall and has better defense. Well, part of it is that I'm favoring his hitting ability over Kibriya's defensive ability because I think the differences in defense aren't going to be so stark that Kibriya Hayes is going to be like this Gold Glover doing flips, making every play, and Josh Young's going to be falling all over himself. So the difference between the two is really the power. And I got to be honest, Hayes' speed is a good bit higher than I thought it was over Young's. I might be second guessing myself here right on the fly. I got to be honest. I have to do one of two things, or both things. I think I have to move Young down a couple spots and Hayes up a couple to where they meet. And I'm giving Kibriya Hayes the edge. I'm doing it, y'all. I'm making changes. So, now, from a 13 on, it goes Kirilloff at 13, Ramos at 12, Lodolo at 11, Young at 10, Kibriya Hayes at 9. I made the move. 76-89 isn't as much higher as I thought. I just had a misperception in my head. 72-64. I mean, it's higher. It's definitely higher. But you look at the speed component too, and the defense is absolutely disgusting. So I'm moving Kibriya up. He's 9. Young is 10. I love Young. Don't get me wrong. This is not an anti-Young situation here. I still love this Josh Young card, but I got to be fair, and I think Kibriya Hayes is above him when the defense and speed are factored out. I don't think that the power gains that Young has, the main being against lefty, 89 to what, 68? What was it? 64. It's a 25-point difference versus lefty. That is nice, but a lot of people are probably going to make you face a righty against him anyway, so then it's 72 versus 76. So if you can get it lefty against Young, he's much better than Kibriya Hayes at that point. But as it stands right now, I'm moving Kibriya to 9, Kyle Wright 8. Now we're in our top 7 here. Let's move on. Taylor Tramel coming in at number 7 for the San Diego Padres, 94 overall, has all 3 outfield positions. And I'm looking at this card now and I'm wondering why I rated him so highly. I made a mistake. I've made 2 mistakes here. I don't know why. I just, you know what it was? The way I ranked this, I wrote them all out in team order, and then I started shuffling at my ranking. And I never went back to this Taylor Tramel to look at it. Don't get me wrong. Good card. He's not number 7. That's whack. That's whack as hell. And I got to move him down a good bit, to be honest with y'all. I'm sorry. How is he not with Alec Thomas? Good contact, good field, good speed. Alec Thomas, same thing. Now, he's got... I wish it would stay where you were after that, because then it goes all the way back to Baltimore, and I got to go all the way back. So, yeah, he's got 94 speed, 92 field. What does Thomas have? 87 speed, 90 field. Okay, so I'll rate Tramel ahead of him, but he was way too high. I apologize for that. So another re-ranking on the fly here. Tramel's going all the way down to 19. One spot ahead of Thomas. That was just a total mess up. I don't know why I had him up there. It's just because I overlooked when I was doing my shuffling, because I was doing a spot check on everybody and moving them, and I just skipped him. Perfectly capable card, especially if you don't need the outfield arm, but not number 7. So he's 19, Horner 18. I'm going to go over all of them at the end anyway. Anyway, now Kyle Wright moves back up to set. Kyle Wright just sitting there like chilling, just moving up left and right. Top 6 now. No more changes. I agree with all 6 of these. I know I've checked these guys. Number 6, Brusdar Graterol. Dodgers starting pitcher, 93 overall. Absolute monster. Has outlier on his sinker. Has a 99 mile per hour fastball. 100/97 on his hit and K9. Overcomes the fact that he has a 68 BB9. Honestly, he's best deployed as a reliever. You bring in somebody to start, give them 3-4 innings, let Graterol come in, get 3-4 innings of his own in the middle of the game. I think that's the best usage of him. But however you want to do it, this card looks absolutely nasty. I'm very excited to get this card. I'm a long way from it. I only have 5 total points for the Dodgers, but I got to get it. Next up, for the Miami Marlins, Jazz Chisholm. And this is permeating the community because I see everybody doing Marlins. There's like 5 people in my stream right now doing Marlins March to October. So everyone knows about this card. Second base, shortstop primary, second base backup. Great against righties, capable against lefties. Love the defense, love the speed. I've heard his swing is off the charts. So I am going a little bit off of community vibe and giving him the benefit of the doubt here, because you're probably wondering, well, isn't he a bit of like a left-handed Jorge Matteo? I'm adding in the fact that the community is buzzing about him and some of the gameplay I've seen with other people, and I'm moving him up based on that. Now, if I use him, turns out he sucks, I'll move him down a little bit. But I'm not sure I would move him down any further than, like, I don't know, somewhere in the 12 to 15 range might be the lowest. But for now, I got him 5th. I'm really excited about this card based on everything I've heard, everything I've seen, and the ratings that I see here. Jazz Chisholm, number 5. Number 4, for the St. Louis Cardinals, we have Nolan Gorman. Gorman, primary third with first base backup, elite capabilities against righties, but can hit lefties too with an 81-94. Quality defense at third base. You can easily put him there. A little bit of speed. If you put him at first, you get great defense out of first with a little bit of speed there as well. Not quite Evan White speed, but you're usually getting guys with like 30 and below speed at first base, so a 55 isn't too bad. I've heard this card absolutely slaps. Excited to eventually get him. I'm only at 10 points out of the 120 that I need, so it'll be a long time before I get him. Next up is another Nolan. This one is Nolan Jones for Cleveland. He has third base, first base, but then left and right field. That is absolutely part of what earned him the nod over Gorman. Not to mention, look at that 106-98 power combo. That's disgusting. Great arm and arm accuracy. So he's a capable fielder at all 4 of those positions. A little bit slow at 45, but not killing you. You know, he's not somebody that has to be pinch run for in every situation. Maybe late in the game when you need 1 run, sure. But in the middle of a game, I don't think you need to. And we're down to the top 2. By now, you've probably done process of elimination to figure out who they are. Which way am I going to go? Well, number 2 is Brandon Marsh. The 94 overall outfielder, center field primary, Jason Worth looking some gun with left field and right field capability, elite defense, great speed, brilliant hitting across the board. Can hit righties, can hit lefties. He's got it all. I mean, the only thing that he doesn't really have, actually has perfect vision if you really think about it. 69 is so nice. But it's a little bit light. You know, as you get into Hall of Fame, the PCI will be a little bit smaller. But again, people are using Joey Gallo on Hall of Fame. It's going to feel like a boat-sized PCI in comparison to that when you use this Brandon Marsh. I've heard good things already, too, for those that do have him. I'm a little bit closer on this one. I'm at 50 out of the 70. I did some showdowns to get the Ohtani. I might do a March to October with the Angels too. It'd be fun to use Trout, Ohtani, Rendon. I'm a big Justin Upton guy. Some of their pitchers I like, even though they're not great, like Tehran and Bundy. But anyway, that leaves the number one as Tampa Bay Rays, Vidal Brujan. Is he our only switch hitter? Switch hitting, second short center field, double diamond, elite contact, great vision, brilliant fielding, top-notch speed, can play all three of the positions. Again, contact and vision, can carry the power, make it play up a little bit. I love this card. I cannot wait to get this card. I'm actually doing a March to October with the Rays right now with the purpose of getting close to finishing this card. If I can win the World Series on Hall of Fame, what can I get? Let's just, let's say 30, 65, 72. If I can get a high end there and get about 70, 72 points, that'd be great. I'd be right in, well, I'd get what I would have what I need if I got that high. So I'll be right on the cusp either way, as long as I can win the World Series. If not, I can do a couple exchanges to kind of finish it off. But I will have this Vidal Brujan, and he's my number one, because I think he's basically going to be a juiced Mondesi at this point, because he is a switch hitter, because he does have elite contact, elite vision, great fielding and speed, and enough power to be dangerous. So Vidal Brujan's my number one. Reviewing them 1 to 30, Vidal Brujan for the Rays, Brandon Marsh for the Angels, Nolan Jones for Cleveland, Nolan Gorman for the Cardinals, Jazz Chisholm for the Marlins, Brusdar Graterol for the Dodgers, Cal Wright for the Braves, Kibriya Hayes for the Pirates, Josh Young for the Rangers, Nicola Dolo for the Reds at 10, Elio Ramos for the Giants, Alex Kirilloff for the Twins, Brady Singer for the Royals, Jose Urquidy for the Astros, Clark Schmidt for the Yankees at 15, Evan White for the Mariners, Andres Jimenez for the Mets, Nico Horner for the Cubs, Taylor Tramel for the Padres, Alec Thomas for the Diamondbacks at 20, Luis Garcia for the Nationals, Jorge Matteo for the A's, Dane Dunning for the White Sox, Ryan Robison for the Rockies, Daz Cameron for the Tigers at 25, Bobby Dahlbeck for the Red Sox, Ryan Mountcastle for the Orioles, Adonis Medina for the Phillies, Zach Brown for the Brewers, and Kevin Smith for the Blue Jays at 30. Those are my rankings. What'd you think? Who do you like? Who don't you like? Who are you going for right now? Who have you used that you think needs to be higher? And who needs to be lower? I'm open to it. Let me know what you think in those comments below. Come through on Twitch, twitch.tv/sport. If you're watching this on the day it releases, which is April 29th, I'll be streaming pretty much until about 3 Central in the morning. So you have a chance to come through twitch.tv/spore and say what's up. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Peace.